Hi everyone, my name is Shruti. Welcome once again to all who have been part of my work and the channel. Welcome to those who are meeting me for the first time. I would be glad if you could stay in for a few minutes and hold on with the conversation that I'm going to have today. Just so you know, my podcasts are available on Spotify by the name of the channel The Soul's Mind Podcast, and also on my YouTube channel, wherein I will be publishing the podcast. I am back to the old school blogging, so I post every week a new blog, and mostly I write every day on my website. However, weekly is something that if you visit, you will find a lot of new discoveries that may help you to reinvent yourself, make it part of your life's practice. This channel is dedicated to provide you an access mindful lifestyle and mindful thoughts. You will be also get a chance to explore some poetry. I want to live mindfully and have a mindful lifestyle so that I leave a legacy behind me of living a life full of mindful and spiritual aspirations, and actually providing an access that it is a bad idea to kind of attach yourself with the results from the real world you see outside. So that's all my intention is, and I think I began my journey way, way early, and I was glad and grateful to be graced with the kind of spiritual guru and the family that I come from, and we're very simple and spiritually inclined people, and I think I'm blessed to be living in that environment. Well, for a living, I work with a preschool chain called Footprints. It's an early brain development center, and it's a preschool chain wherein we all together as a team striving to provide children access to high scope education, which is based on active learning, and we have served about more than 20,000 children, and I'm glad to be part of their team by giving my knowledge and experience into designing curriculum, training, a lot of new so innovating some practices and reaching out to more people, helping in creating videos, marketing, and a lot of things. So I think I experienced myself being a family with Footprints, and it's been a great journey. I would say I've completed 5 years, and it is the first organization wherein I, in fact, have completed 1 year. Like, eventually, I learned how to be consistent and be patient and committing to something and not just running away. Educating parents through webinars and training teachers through our training program. So it's been an amazing journey so far. Um, and this is what I do every day, and I spend a lot of time. So people ask me that how are you able to really do so much, and I don't really get what you do in life. I say, like, let it be. I mean, this is who I am. You will never get to know what I do. I launched my khadi apparel, I did my graphic and web designing, I'm into theaters, I sing for fun, I dance, I do a lot of things. So there are people in my life, like, if I take forward my journey, I think there are people who I met in different phases of my life, and if I kind of collect them together, they would say, hey, we know Shruti as a stand-up comedian. Hey, we know Shruti from the college. She was good at writing, she was good in acting, and she was good in this. She was fun to be around. Some people, oh no, she's quite serious. I mean, we are scared to ask any questions because she's been training us. So there are so many other listenings I have, and for my family, I'm always going to be a kid. So every one of us, each one of us will be having different listening of people. Like, people look at you differently, and by the way, you behave as people expect you to behave. This is a great discovery that I've had, that it's not that I am the way I am. It's like, if I am put in an environment where I kind of sense, we sense our behavior that, okay, I am expected to be serious right now. Okay, so this is I am. People think that, hey, you are serious, but maybe the environment you are in is calling it, or demanding you to be that way. How is it that for your mom you'll always be a kid, and how is it for your boss you'll always be responsible? So that's how you deal with people in life, and that's amazing thing to discover yourself. So coming back to the whole thing about how I do what I do. So I adapted mindful lifestyle, of course, way early, but I think I started acknowledging the fact that, hey, it's because of this I am able to do what I do. So I began waking up early. I mean, me and my husband both are early risers, so we both wake up early. We ensure that we are up and we start our day by listening to our guru's lecture, and then followed by all the practices that incorporates meditation and having tea together, sitting in the balcony, reflecting how you want a day. I use my goals book. So I use this book to create my day, just throughout the affirmations I can have, so that I can release it from my mind and my mind can be free and adaptive to what happens next to me. So to people who keep asking me, why am I doing what am I doing and what exactly do I do? My answer is that I do everything that comes on my way. I choose what do I need to do. I'm no more driven by what's happening with me. I have full freedom and ease to create what I want for myself. And having said that, that doesn't mean that I get and I am rigid about the fact that I listen to my mind what I'm supposed to do. However, even if there's a situation that is given to me by God, like by universe, hey, you're put in this frame, the skill of adapting with the change or what is happening has been really helping. uh, Instead of reacting, I've become responsive to the situation. So I think we all can be beyond who we are right now, but sometimes there are things like pitying on our own selves, like self-pity, low confidence, and pleasing people, and the idea to, I should be called good person even though I have to stretch myself, do whatever I don't like to. So those are the things that stop us to be extraordinary. And so I've seen a lot of equations in relationships that are driven by people's expectations. But if you kind of understand that's not about expectations, it's more about you being yourself and communicating what you want, when you want, why you want, and how you want. I hear a lot of conversation in my own communities that, you have to do this. You are 30, you have to do this. You are 20, you have to do this. I think those have tos are not universally true. In my opinion, we are just trying to put things so comfortable with us that the people in different generations are pressurized to actually behave in a certain way which they may not be designed to. I mean, and I see a lot of people out of, I don't know, being envy or being unconsciously just acting in a way that, hey, how can they be happy? Let us throw some more questions and obstacles on them, if you look at it that way. But as I go into more spiritual levels, and as a being, not, I'm not even a beginner in it, but maybe the willingness or whatever I've gotten of shifting the whole context was that even if somebody's doing anything like to me which I'm not appreciating or it's not in my favor, even if I experience that, the whole context I shifted by thinking that maybe God wants me to learn patience. God wants me to be adaptive. God wants me to really go to the next level, and that's why I am kept in a position wherein I have to actually face certain things, and I'm feeling uncomfortable because that's something new to me. So we all in the area, imagine the whole family thinks this way, that hey, it's not you, but it's something about me I need to work on. Imagine what level of understanding and peace will you have in the family or house or your relationship. So yeah, that's how it is. And I think most important thing is not what happens, but most important is how you respond to what happens, how that what happens occurs to you at the point you are facing it. If it occurs to you as danger, not good, unhappy, it will really really be that. But if you're occurring, or if your context of taking the whole thing changes, imagine you hold a lot of power to still be a leader, to still be powerful in any situation you would be a weakest at your weakest zone. So that's what I started to discover, and I'm not saying that I do it every time. I'm sure I do vent out, I do shout, I do get angry. However, I got this access of not stretching the whole thing and venting it out with the right person who's not going to make it a gossip in the end. So Soul's Mind is my new book that is launching. I mean, I'm just counting days. It's like too close now. It's on 14th of February and we are right now on 6th Feb, and I can't wait to see my author's copy. Soon I'm going to have my podcast and read some of the poetries so that you get a context of what those poetries are. You know, you being willing to explore and discover the spiritual side of today's Saturday, and I call my weekend as Soulful Saturday and Soulful Sundays, wherein I love to talk because this is the time I can spend with myself. Like as I'm on job, I take care of it on the weekdays and wake up really early so that I'm able to really work on what I like and also give 100% to my job and the accountabilities I hold and other things for living. So I think I am blessed to have this understanding of life wherein I don't feel bad if I'm not sleeping for more than 8 hours. I mean, I ensure that minimum of 5 to 6 hours I sleep and take care of my health. I go on a walk, complete about 13,000 steps, 10 to 15,000 in between. Like I sometimes do 10 to 13 to 15. Sometimes when I'm really, really having time, I cross 15. But I do not want to miss anything that I do inside my health, spiritual practices, and living mindfully. So this is very beautiful transformation and experience I've had past month, that I was too much attached and entitled with what I'm doing and what is the next profile and what kind of appraisal I'm looking at. Should I go for a job or should I start my own business? Or and I was so much focused and dependent on what I do. But lately, of course, in 2020, all of us experienced some of the turmoils in our personal life, financially, health wise, and mentally. And we all discovered, and I don't say it really affected me. Into emotional side, I think I became even stronger. But I've been blessed and grateful that it hasn't impacted me, my family, in a way that we rather were fortunate that even of in the mid of risking the job or anything like that, we're fortunate and blessed to have the time that we got as a family together. It was my sister's wedding and we had a great time, close family. If I say family, it's my parents, my husband-in-law, sister, brother-in-law. I think we all got great time to bond and look at each other's weaknesses and strengths and helping each one improve on it. And today when we are back on our own places and work, I think we all have become strong and independent and living our lives the way we want to design. It's not dependent on anybody else's feels. So I think that's beautiful accomplishment. And this podcast, I want to share something beautiful, and that is what I say, that why did I write my book? And people may wonder that what happened to Shruti. Where on earth did this poetry come to picture? So let me just break this ice. I have been writing poetry since my childhood. I think the first time my poetry got published in a newspaper in the school section, like children's section, and it was on sisters. So I still remember the initial lines as a kid I wrote was, sisters are those who are very close, from each side no one can hide, daughters of same parents with laughter and happiness. I still laugh at this poetry because initially I thought that poetry is all about rhyming words. So I've been into this space. I won't say it's new for me, but yes, coming out as an author is something that I have surprised and shocked many of people and myself as well. So I never thought I would firstly publish any of my work writing because they were quite private. But the moment Instagram came in place, like I started working on Instagram as a content person, I wrote a lot of thoughts. I think it was really helping me to vent out. However, I shared in my previous podcast that it didn't work for me to an extent that it gave a lot of pressure, and I didn't like the fact the kind of content that was shared and floating around, and there was very, very less acceptance of mindful content, although people did share some quotes and everything. But I think so mostly we think that we write for others, but actually we write for ourselves. So I got off that and I stopped posting much on it unless it's an announcement and I really want people to know. However, one practice that I started adding was if I want to share something with some people particularly, I would rather take their numbers and share it personally, because that's more where you kind of express and genuinely with the people who really would care somehow what you do. So poetry was already written. This is the first time. It's really surprising that I didn't have to work and sit to create a book. I did not spend hours and hours to create it. It happened to me. How like I already had a lot of poetries written, and I kept writing every day. So my sister just said randomly once we were on our balconies that, why don't you get your, I want your book to get published. I mean, they're amazing, they're like instant, and they're all very very low. So my poetry are free verse. More than poetries, it's like a prose, set of prose wherein I've expressed various topics I went through in the conversation. Those were real topics, like you and I having conversation. You said something, I did not want to argue or align you. What I did was I went back and wrote a poetry on my phone and published it or saved it or whatsoever. So I think, or maybe I'm in my office meeting and there is some argument or there's some disagreement taking place, and I want to just hold on there. I just went back and wrote a poetry. So every conflict in my head was turned and converted into a beautiful poetry, which if read by anybody in the whole universe, anybody who reads it, human beings of course, anybody who reads it will be able to relate with what he or she is going through in day-to-day life. So I want to just share some of the insights on, I read one of the poetries, and this is for now, that I experience being nothing and I hold no pressure. Even if my book fails, even if nobody buys it, I am still satisfied and content, because I wrote this book for myself, for really taking a chance to be courageous once again. So here's something that I wanted to share and maybe read to you. Well, I don't know how to effectively read poetries, but just bear with. The title is Nothing, and it goes like, I'm not scared if you take it away from me. I can build it again, standing tall by bending my knee. I owe nothing. I'm not scared if everything is lost. The palace of attachment is crossed. I own nothing. I'm not scared for the label you put on me. I wear it the reverse. You will never find the key. I mean nothing. So this is something that I wanted to create. So I'll go back to the first stanza. It says, I'm not scared if you take it away from me. I can build it again, standing tall, bending on my knee. I owe nothing. So it's like, even if everything is lost, even if everything is taken away from me, maybe my tag, my job, my profile, my entitlement, my the respect, the identity, imagine that I everything is just taken away, I still don't feel as a failure, or I don't experience that I'm broken, because still stand tall wherever I am, just for the reason that I owe nothing to anybody. And it is a universal truth that you actually don't owe anything to anybody. It is in society, uh, just to get our work done, just to make a condition so that people do, and they do have some elusive fear about it. We do make people feel guilty or pressurized by experiencing they owe me. So whenever somebody helps you, say, you owe me, or I owe you one. I mean, this is a nice way to say take the promises, but that doesn't really has to do anything for your soul. So here's the soul's mind actually telling that, hey, Mr. Human Body, I'm a soul, I owe nothing to anybody. So I had to tell this to myself. So my soul's mind just said this to me: I'm not scared if you take it away from me. I can build it again, standing tall by bending my knee. I owe nothing. I am not scared if everything is lost. The palace of attachment is crossed. I own nothing. So this is really beautiful. It's like, in the world, be it relationship, be it your career, be it your anything. I mean, the way we respond or the way we prioritize has to do with the level of attachment you have. When you know that detachment is soul's purpose, one of the things that the soul is here to discover on earth, that hey, I mean, I've referred this to one of the poetries, that the ultimate goal is God. Your soul is the part of Supreme, and it has to go one day and get absorbed in the whole bigger, beyond Earth kind of space. So, if that is so, what all these attachments and detachments are going to take place? You're not going to take anything up. We all know that. But still, we're not able to come out because we are more listening to our mind than the soul's mind. Again, then I leave. It's open for interpretation. I think you can feel free to relate to your life, even if not spiritually extensing, but even not spiritually inclined. It could be anything that you currently feel. So here's again, the title is Nothing. I am not scared if you take it away from me. I can build it again standing tall by bending my knee. I owe nothing. I'm not scared if everything is lost, the palace of attachment is crossed. I own nothing. I'm not scared for the label you put on me. I wear it the reverse. You will never find the key. I mean nothing. So it's the entire invitation of becoming and being nothing, so that no attachment drives you. Rather, your soul's mind is telling you that you are nothing. You did not bring anything on the earth, and you're not going to take anything from the earth. So you are actually whole and nothing. So that's my poetry in one of the sections. And if you read it again and again, the beauty of poetries is like, it's not that hey, I already know the poetries, but you really want to read it again and again in any situation to vent out. And there's a promise I've made in my book, The Soul's Mind, that when you start reading it, you'll actually experience yourself being vented out, and in the end you'll be able to rediscover and reinvent who you want to be and who you were in the situation, and actually give that up. So that's the power of poetry that I want to hold, and invite you all to buy this book. And it could be one of the attempt for you to express being spiritually inclined and having willingness to really discover yourself by having this book on your shelf. Let me know in the comment or share it with people about the book Soul's Mind. I'll be glad if you could purchase it and read each poetry. My poetry book may not excel in language and writing, but it does in the context of it. Each poetry is written by sense of being a soul, sense of being nothing, and sense of being nobody, and coming up with poetries that drive a spiritual inclination in the whole book. So I hope you wear these specs of being contextually active over judging on the writing grammar and why there is a comma here and why there's the full stop there. There is a meaning, of course, I've added, but you can ask me questions on that. Honestly, my poetries can only be told by me. So if you want to know anything about the book, feel free to write me anything in the comment. My email ID, shrutinagardave@gmail.com. I have my own website, spiritedshruti.me. You can click there and visit me for any questions and queries, and I'll be posting the purchase link for my book. So be ready to buy it, and I'll be really grateful to you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.